Hey, you, it's a blind life. And welcome back to the It's a Blind Life podcast. My name is Aria.
And I'm Belle.
And we are two legally blind sisters who decided to make a podcast just talking about our lives as blind people. There's no rhyme or reason to this show. We talk about what we want when we want, and what you see is what you get. We talk about a variety of different topics, but like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And this week, we are finally going to be talking about the eye doctor. Hooray! So, we have had this episode on the books for a very long time. And every time we try to do it, or we think we're going to do it, it gets changed. And I swear we've announced this episode like 3 different times that we're going to do it. And we have yet to do it. But today
is the day.
Today is the day that we're going to do such things. So, what we were planning on doing is just talking about what a typical eye doctor appointment looks like for us, and then also talk about some different things that have happened to us in eye doctor's appointments, different tests we've done, different things. It's not going to get like graphic or anything like that, but also
maybe.
If you have some
If you are squeamish with eyes, maybe this is not the episode for you.
Yeah, and if you are a little bit squeamish with just like general descriptions of like medical stuff, this episode might not be for you, and that's okay. You can catch us on the next one or go back to some old ones. It's all good. Totally get it. Not everybody's cup of tea. So, that being said, would you like the honors, Belle, of describing a typical eye doctor's appointment?
Oh, dear gosh. At which stage in our lives? Are we going just by current eye doctor?
Yeah, current.
Okay, current eye doctor. It is an all-day affair, everyone.
It really is.
It is an all-day affair for our family. So we make our lives easier, and both of us get appointments on the same day.
One right after the other.
Yeah, one right after the other. So, like, Aria may get, like, the 1:15 appointment and I'll get the 1:45 or like something like that. We are one right after the other, so like it makes it easier. But how this normally works, of course we get taken back separately to do our intakes. Intakes happen, goody joy. They take us through like the tests, like hold this in front of your face. Look at the thing with the hand eye cover thing.
Yeah,
the normal, I want to say, eye doctor things. Do a
kind of like
test.
Can you follow my finger around?
Yeah.
Like, do your pupils dilate? What's your eye pressure?
Yeah.
Look at the letters on the screen and read as far as you can read. Look at the letters on this little piece of paper and
here's the dot color blindness test. Guess what? We have failed that every time. But I digress.
Every time. It's so funny when they're just
try to be like, we see 12 and we see nothing else. And they're like, well, let's just try. No.
And it's funny because I swear there are some nurses that are doing the intake who have had us before. And they're like, look, we're not going to waste our time. We're just going to do this super quick. We know it's not. And then there are the ones who either are new and haven't had us before or are just like kind of like the try hard nurses.
Yeah, they're like, maybe this time. No, it is not this time.
No, it's not.
It's not. But we go through that process, and then who's ever done first will like go back to wait for the doctor. And then by the time the other one is done, granted, both of us each at that point will have one of the parental figures. So normally, like, let's say I'm the second person in the appointment.
It's normally me first.
It is normally Aria first. So I'm second person in to get checked in and everything. By that point in time, me and whatever parental figure is with me are taken to Aria's appointment, where we sit and wait for the doctor, or we go in with the doctor. This way, because we have the same condition, if there are things happening, doctor don't have to repeat it twice.
Yeah.
Both parentals can hear what's happening with both of our vision. It just makes it easier. We get to make fun of each other.
Well, and the thing is, too, because people are going to be like, HIPAA. And it's like, we honestly do not care because in this case, what's going on with Belle could affect me, and what's going on with me could eventually affect Belle. So it's just things to like keep in mind. Like, for example, I had a really bad case of dry eye, and Belle now knows like, hey, I need to like keep on making sure that I'm putting drops in my eyes so that way I don't get dry eye.
Or like for me, like now I will, after I take out my contacts, I will rinse out my eyes with saline solution. It just helps with the eye lubrication.
Yes. And so she knows to do that now, and she wouldn't have known to do that if we kept things separate. Also, we tell each other anything anyway. So like
honestly, it's gonna be heard by it's just a repeat of the information.
So it just makes it easier for us to be together. Like, I know some people are like super cagey about that stuff, but like we're not.
Not in this case.
Yeah.
It's also like when your parents are your caretakers, quote unquote caretakers, they kind of need to know these things.
Yeah, they kind of need to know.
They need to know what's up. The fact that it is also a genetic condition, you know, both of our parents have the gene. Who knew what could happen in the future?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, just so they both have the information, that type of thing. I think it's another thing for us that when it comes to our vision that we're less cagey about it compared to, like, our other health stuff that we don't normally like to share with other people.
Yeah.
Is like, for us, it's like, well, we may be a study one day, so, like, you know.
Well, and that's the thing, like, we share it with each other. Regular health stuff is kind of different. We would probably say some general things, but also for that, it's kind of like, that's a little bit more personal.
Yeah, like that, it's like...
Where our eye stuff has always kind of been, like, not personal. Like, it's really strange.
Yeah.
I think Belle is right in the fact that we've always kind of been like, when we go to the eye doctor, we are kind of the unicorns. We are definitely a very rare type of patient that they don't see every day. It's a rare condition. Like Belle said, I mean, I'm enrolled in a study currently.
I thought you were kicked out because you don't have the correct mutation.
No,
Or are we
I'm
still
not
waiting on that one?
I think that might be a different one that you're thinking of, but
I don't know. You were kicked out of a lot of studies because it wasn't the correct mutation.
Well, I'm in another one.
We're going to see if we stay in that one.
You know, it's just for history. They're just looking at my history, that's all.
Oh, this is the sheep one.
Yes. So, yeah, we've been part of studies.
I like to say, again, like for me, it's why like I have always had like trouble communicating with people my age, is because from a young age, I was subjected to doctors a lot more. And I'm using air quotes. I was a lab rat in a sense of me and Arya are both rare. Our condition is rare. Our mutation is rare. It's not found prevalent in girls. We rare.
Yeah.
And we get it. So, like, of course, you know, we want to be studied for scientific purposes. This isn't saying we want to cure, because I don't think I'm going to ever take it.
We're not, it's not that kind of study.
No, it is more so, like, the one Arya just said, it's like a history tracking thing. Apparently, they found our mutation in sheep, hence why I refer to it as the sheep study.
Yeah. The thing is, too, for all of these studies, is that they are for advancing the scientific knowledge. It is not for making a medication or doing a drug trial or anything like that. It is purely for more understanding in the scientific community, and that's the further we go.
Yeah. I think, like, the one... You tried out for it whenever I was younger, and I was, like, really freaked out that I'd have to be, like, put in the study. But it was one of the ones where it wasn't our mutation, where they were seeing about, like, giving rats our mutation, like one of the mutations, and seeing if they could correct it.
Mm-hmm.
That it wasn't our mutation.
Yeah.
So you were kicked out. But like that's as far as we go. We ain't testing anything for us. Like we don't do that.
No, we're not about that.
If you want to
like,
inject this into rats, that's I think as far as we go.
Yeah, we're not at that level of like testing meds or like
No, and we will never
things.
be. That is not something that we're into.
No.
For ourselves, so no. But I always found it hard to connect to people my age because, again, I was a lab rat and I knew different things that kids my age didn't, and I didn't know what kids my age knew.
Yeah, I think I was in in a paper actually that one of my doctors wrote when I got contacts, because he was kind of one of the foremost expert at the time, and this was years ago, on getting colored contacts to help people with our condition. And like I think I was one of the first people, like I wasn't the first, but I was one of a very small group of people that were trying these different colored contacts. And I think he wrote a paper.
I think What's-His-Face also wrote a paper on you.
I'm sure. I'm probably in so much scientific
I think at this point we both are,
and we just don't know it, which is fine. Because
fine. We don't care.
We don't care, but it's just very funny.
It is because, like, honestly, we don't, and it's not like we're mentioned by name, but like,
yeah, no, and that's the thing too. You're not mentioned by name, so we can't say for sure that we are, but we just kind of like we have that feeling, you know?
Yeah, we're definitely in newspaper articles.
We are in articles.
Yeah. He also wrote a paper.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's who I was mentioning, where I know we're both in one.
I forgot about that entirely because okay. That man was not my friend.
I don't think that man was either of our friends, but like we owe that man a lot.
We do.
He just was not our friend.
He was not my friend.
Should we mention that in this episode? Because he was a doctor.
Not by name, but yes, we can talk about that.
Okay, so another form of doctor we went to, it wasn't like the strict eye doctor that we were talking about, but we both had to go for eye training.
Yes.
And this is what helped us with our coordination.
Yeah, so
we did very weird things. That's probably where I get the feeling I was a lab rat.
That is, because it did feel, that training did feel
very
like
lab rat-like.
Yeah, so essentially what happened was, one of the things, and we've said this before that we both have, is nystagmus. And nystagmus is when your eye moves uncontrollably. The muscles in the eye, I don't know if they're not strong enough or...
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Point is, we can't control our eyes.
We couldn't control some of the eye movement. And so, essentially, mine would just move like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it would cause a lot of issues, especially when I was little. And so the one thing that my parents found to help with that was a quote unquote eye trainer.
And forever now he's eye trainer.
Eye trainer. And so essentially what we would do is once a week, maybe twice a week. I can't remember the specifics. I think it depended. But we would go into the major city that's a couple hours away from our house, and we would be there for like an hour.
Oh, it felt longer than an hour.
It felt longer than an hour. I think it was like an hour. It might have been a little bit
that
longer.
Felt like a whole day appointment.
It did. It felt like a whole day thing, but it wasn't that long. And you would do different exercises. And there was a wheel like on one end of the room, and you had to, I had to stand like in the middle of the room. So like so many feet away from it. And there was like different lines of tape on the wheel. And they gave me a laser pointer, and they would turn off the lights, and they would turn the wheel, and they would be like, okay, start here and start following the path of the tape and start like connecting things. So, like, you would have to do that. The one thing, like, they had it was like a balance board in a way.
The difficult balance boards. They had like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they got worse the more you got good at it.
Yeah. And you would have to stand there and you would have to balance for so long.
Oh, and then once you get to like the hardest balance board, they made it worse.
Yeah.
They had like balls hanging from the ceiling, like on string. And once I got real good at it, they were like, okay, now here's a stick and we're going to set down this ball and you got to whack it in a circle.
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible.
You had to do that. I didn't. But with the balls that are on the string, the one thing that I would have to do was they had like a tape line on the floor.
You just had to do it on the tape line?
Uh-huh. And I would walk,
evil.
You have to stay on the tape line. And then they would make the ball go back and forth, and you had to
walk across.
Yeah, without getting hit.
I had to do that on a actual like balance beam.
I had to do it with a strobe light.
I also had to do it with a strobe light on the balance beam.
No, not on the balance beam.
You never did it? Oh my gosh, they made me do it on the balance beam so many times.
If I did, I don't remember it. Because there were so many different things that we had to do for these, and I'm only naming very few. Like, I know one of them was they would put down a picture of a maze on a table. And
you had to trace it in the correct direction, but it was in a mirror or something.
Well, there was that, but then there was also there was a little magnetic mouse.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have this one. You did.
I did. I named the mouse. His name was Deneliton. I loved him so much.
I did not have this.
But essentially, he was a little like plastic mouse, and he had a little magnet on the bottom of him. And then there was like a ring, essentially, like a plastic like kitty ring that you could put on your finger. And it had a magnet on top of it. And so essentially, they would put the mouse on top of the table, and then they would put the ring part on the bottom. And essentially, I would have to get the mouse through the maze, and like I couldn't see what my hand was doing. So like I had to just follow the mouse and get him through the maze. There were a lot of other like kind of tests like that, like using different grids, using different like maps, using different like...
Yeah, you had the easier ones. I think by the time I got there, they perfected their forms of torture.
They probably did, to be perfectly fair.
I didn't get no Deneliton.
We love Deneliton.
We
stand Deneliton.
All I got were find the difference puzzles and harder versions of the floor stuff that Arya got. And here's a dot grid. I'm going to make a path. The person would like connect to the things. They turn it upside down, put a mirror on it, and I'd have to look at the mirror image and do it the correct way. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was torture.
Now, mind you, that was a typical day there. Okay? That was a typical session there. Every so often, and there were like 2 or 3 other practitioners. They were the ones who ran the exercises. Like there were like 2 or 3 of them. I think at my time there was 2. There might have been 3 when you were there.
I think there were like 4.
Yeah, I think it grew, but I only remember 2 guys. They were the 2 people that I worked with all the time. Then every so often, you got called into the main doctor's office.
Oh my gosh.
And that was that was essentially you were being tested.
That was your test.
To see how you were progressing. Those were the worst days.
Yeah, those were the worst.
Those were the worst. I honestly don't remember much of them.
I don't either. I think I blocked them out.
I'm pretty sure I did too, because I just remember it was very intense.
It was. He had like this dark, moody office.
Yes. Yeah, and the thing is too,
books everywhere.
I would be like, oh yeah, I want to be in here. And then like stuff would happen and like nothing bad happened. Like let's
preface that.
Our parents were in the room with us. Yeah. Like nothing bad happened.
No.
It was just very intense tests that we had to do.
It was like mental torture. is the best way I can describe it.
And it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be, but it was like, I did all this work and it's so difficult.
Yeah. And towards the end, you would be getting tired. And like, also, we were kids. We were like elementary school kids. Because at least with when you were doing the normal exercises that you would go to do, like you would be getting up, like you could be moving around. Like it was very much a more like yes, there are times you had to like sit down and do stuff, but also like the guys who ran it, or at least the guys who ran it for me, were super nice. And so like they could tell like if we were getting a little antsy with sitting at the table, okay, we're going to get up and we're going to do one of the things where you walk across the tape line or something.
Yeah.
They were very good at gauging what we needed to do to kind of get through it. This doctor wasn't. And the way I mean that is it was just like he was there to see how you were doing. Like how it was going overall. He was there to assess you.
But it wasn't like any of the exercises you did.
Right. It was different things.
You'd like pull in like 5 different other sets of exercises that you never did during your lessons. So you were just like, what is this? Don't do this to me.
Yeah.
He's also the doctor. If anybody listened to our pink funny stories about the color pink. Yeah. When Belle had to freaking stare into a pink blue light. Yeah. That was this doctor.
Yes, that was him. So
don't ask me why I had to do it.
He thought he was going to cure us.
Yeah, he was dead set he was curing us.
He was dead set he was curing us, which again, like nothing bad happened to us. Our parents were there the whole time and they were very much advocating in the sense that like if he was going to say like one thing, they were going to be like, no, what we're not going to do is that. So like nothing bad happened to us.
Yes. This man was also a partner of a guy who helped our dad.
Yes.
So like, you know, our dad knew like the head person.
Right. So like if he had a problem, he would just be like, yo, can you talk to him?
Like
to the guy you knew? And but granted, I don't think it ever really got to that level. I think it got close to that level, but it never actually got to that level.
I think it was more so like it was just very frustrating.
Yes. And he would also ask questions too, because the doctor that we saw, who was kind of like the overseer of it, he also didn't have the best like bedside manner.
No.
Like he was not good at explaining things sometimes. So then our dad would go to the other doctor and be like, yo, what's going on? And he'd be like, oh, this. Then they would be like, okay, we can make an informed decision from here. So that was a whole thing. I will say too, like speaking from like our eye doctor's appointments now versus our eye doctor's appointments when we were little. When we were little, it was a lot more intense than it is now. Like, yes, it was still an all-day affair. Yes, when we were little, it was still like this whole big, huge thing. But nowadays, because we're pretty stable, we know the drill. We run through the gauntlet and like, we just make sure everything's okay and we're good.
Yeah.
When we were little,
I think it's been years since I was dilated, but like whenever I was younger, every 6 months.
Yeah, you were being dilated.
I was being dilated.
I've been dilated a lot more than you have.
Yeah, as an adult.
Yeah, as an adult. But as a kid too, like I think I've had more rounds of eye dilation than you.
Honestly, yeah, at this point.
And even though you're younger than me, like at the end of our lives, when you compare, I'm going to have more than you.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing, though, is once we got to, like, our specialist now, who we see once a year, my vision has stayed very stable. Every 2 to 3 years, my prescription changes. Recently, my prescription was just changed this year.
Yeah.
But
you are very stable. I am a little less stable. Like, I'm still stable. But, like, mine also changes, I think, a lot more than yours does.
Yeah.
But also I have other conditions on top of mine. Like I have poor eyesight on top of everything else I've got going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, because you don't have that.
No, but I have other things that are worse than yours.
Again, it's all relative, man.
It's relative. At the end of the day, we balance out, so it's fine.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, so when we were little, like Belle said, it was every 6 months. We were seeing...
It really was every 6 months.
We were seeing the eye doctor.
That sounds so excessive.
It does, but that's what...
Okay, question. Normal people, did you see an eye doctor every 6 months as a kid?
No, I know before I got diagnosed, I think I saw an eye doctor like once a year.
Okay, I don't know any different. So please let me know. As a kid, did you see the eye doctor once a year or twice a year? What is it going on in that?
Honestly, I feel like most people just like go to their pediatrician and the pediatrician just like makes sure it's gooder.
Okay, please let me know what you did, because I'm now very curious, because apparently everybody else is like, oh yeah, I go to the eye doctor once a year and it's like a 45-minute affair. 45 minutes? I'm lucky if it's an hour each.
Yeah, for us it is an all-day affair. And the other thing too is like, it also depends on what other doctors are there.
Oh my
Because
gosh, yeah.
a couple years ago, our specialist that we've seen,
Or if they need pictures.
or
Sorry
if
to
they need
interrupt.
pictures. Yeah, because we've gone through
So many pictures.
so many different types of medical imaging, and like, some
I'm
of
sure
them,
our eyes are in a textbook somewhere.
some of them are worse
Oh, yeah.
than others.
Like, I wouldn't be shocked if, like, somehow pictures of our eyes got put into textbooks.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Because, like, holy crap.
Yeah, especially because I recently had to have more pictures done
Yeah, you did.
when I went in with the study.
Yep.
And that was horrible.
Yep.
Because the nurse was evil, which normally the nurses are pretty good. And honestly, for us, because we're pros at this, we're normally just like, it's cool, it's fine, whatevs. And this is the first nurse in my 30-something years of going to the eye doctor who was absolutely evil. And she was also trying to train somebody on like how to do stuff and was not being helpful at all. And like Belle can attest, because Belle does feel like a lab rat, but I think out of the two of us, more of the true lab rat.
You are more of the lab rat in the sense that if it's a medical study, we send you first as the sacrificial offering. But I was more of the lab rat in the sense of I had to have far more eye training than you.
Okay, that's the difference then. You feel like the lab rat from the eye training.
Yeah, because I go through that all through grade school and like part of middle school.
Right. Because you also had some other issues too.
Yeah, that were affecting it.
That were affecting it. Whereas I am the medical lab rat.
Yeah.
And so Belle can attest, because I've been doing this for so long, and like she can even probably remember when we were little. I was very much when the doctor says like sit there and do this, I do it without question, and I sit as still as humanly possible. I try not to move an inch, so that way they can get what they need the easiest way that they can. This lady who took these eye pictures, she wasn't like, she would be like, okay, do this. And they had dilated my eyes and they're making me stare into a very bright light. So like already not off to a good start. And then like, instead of trying to go quickly, they were taking so long and I couldn't hold the position. And then she was getting mad at me. And it was like, could you not have like a conversation about what you're doing before you have me do this? I am trying my absolute best, but you're not helping. You are not helping me at all.
See, that's my thing. Another thing, I've had to be in the emergency room for people to check my eyes.
Yeah.
Due to other things. But literally, like, when one doctor would try to shine this light in my eye, and I wasn't even dilated. My eye was not cooperating. And he's like, try to look, sir, I have no control over what my eyes are doing.
Yeah, it's like, I will do my very best, but like, I am fighting my body at this point to make this happen for you.
I'm trying the hardest I can. I cannot help it. And it's so funny because my eye wouldn't look at the one doctor when he would do it, but then when the other doctor that was with him would come and look, my eye would cooperate for him. So it was like this whole big thing that my eyes just did not like this one doctor. And I don't know if it was the way he was holding the light to my eye or what. But point of the story, my retinas were not detached. So yay. But especially me, I have no control.
Yeah, you have a lot less control than I do, but like, still. And like, the thing is too about the eye doctor that we have now, like, there's been a couple times recently when I've gone to see him where I'm just like, I can't hold my eye open. I'm tearing up and stuff. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, it's okay. You're good.
Yeah,
but also he's known me since I was like a teenager. Like, so
he's known you since you were younger than that.
Oh, probably. I always forget.
You had a crush on him when you were little.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that he was kind of like in pediatric for a little bit because I only remember when I was like a preteen. Point of the story is he's known me since I was very little.
Yeah.
And so he's like, it's all good, man. Like, I know you're not, I know you're trying your hardest. It's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the story of pictures.
Pictures. We've done a lot of those, but back to the story of tests. This started with a retina specialist.
Yes. So that's where I was getting at before I got sidetracked. So our eye doctor was like, hey, there's this new retina specialist. And like, you might want to see him, like, just to make sure like things are gooder. You might want to do that. And so we did.
It was the worst mistake of our lives.
Because this retina doctor had the audacity,
the complete audacity to question our diagnosis. On the grounds of, well, it's not seen in women. No.
So we try to answer questions to the best we can. We try to do this, that, and the other thing. Like, we do our very best. So he's asking me questions and I'm trying to answer them. He's like, no. This. And I'm just like, but no, I don't know how to answer that question then. I can answer it this way, but like, I can't tell you that. And like, he was getting kind of pissy. And I was just like, sir, I'm here to make your life easier, not harder. I'm not trying to fight you on this.
Oh, me, and I was ready for a fight.
And meanwhile, because then you went up after.
I did.
I think what was going through your mind when he was going after me the way he was?
I was like, oh, let me at you. Let me at you. Because like, this is when he started with the whole, well, it's not found in women. Women don't show it. Well, yeah. Well, no. First he came after our parents.
Oh, he did?
First he came after our parents. About that. So it was like this huge deal. They had to take our genetics and everything. Like, we had to supply our DNA. Our parents had to supply their DNA. And, you know, one of the questions that is asked, that our parents have been asked before, is, are you related?
Yes.
Which, at this point, they understand. Like, why it's asked and everything. But, like, they have to laugh. Because there is absolutely no way our parents' families are related. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Our mom is 100% one thing, and like, we can trace it back to exactly when her family came over
to America.
We can trace that. Our dad is mostly another thing.
Yeah,
no relation.
And his family has been in the States for a lot longer than hers. So like, there's no way.
Like, there is no way, shape, or form that they are related. At all. And like, the genetic testing even proved it. Well, this doctor comes in, and that's the first thing he asks. Again, our parents were like kind of laugh about it, because like they always do, because again, we know.
Yeah.
So, like, they're, like, kind of, like, laughing, and we're like, no, we're not related. Are you sure?
Yeah, he was so serious. And we were just like,
this isn't a laughing matter.
My guy.
My guy. And, like, our parents are like, there's no way we're related. Well, how do you know that? And, like, you know, our mom had to be like, because literally my grandfather, yeah, it was her grandfather, came over on a boat.
Yeah.
And his mother shipped over his family. We know this.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
At all. So, like, then he dropped it. And I'm like, already at this point, I'm like, I don't like you. And at this rate, I'm a teenager. Like, this happened whenever I was a teenager.
Yeah, you were in full teen.
Full puberty.
You were full teen mode.
I was full teen mode. And he starts laying into Arya. And by the time I got up and I sat down and he started, and I started to answer his questions and he tried to interrupt me, I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Sir, are you my eyes now?"
I don't remember this.
You actually, I think you were so upset after.
I think that's the thing. Because honestly, I've blocked a lot of that appointment from my memory. Because I think I was like, this is one of the few. Because again, we've been through the gauntlet. We know what to expect. We have done this so much that we kind of know what to do to help the doctors as much as they can to be the best patients possible. We know how to do this. So then for this doctor to come in guns blazing when it wasn't necessary.
No.
It was the first time we've ever had that with an eye doctor.
Yeah. And I was just like, "Are you my eyes now?" And he kind of looked at me and he's like, "Well, this doesn't correlate to that." And I'm like, "So you're telling me," and like, then he like tried to go on to like, "Well, this isn't prevalent in females." And I'm like, I looked at him, and again, I looked at my parents, I looked at him, and I said, "So you're the one who must have messed up the test whenever I was 6 months old and had electrodes put into my eyes." So you were that person, huh?
What did he say? I don't remember. I really don't remember this.
He was mad at that point. Because I was just giving him sass. And, like, I think at one point he tried to, like, in other words, say to mom and dad, "Control your child." To which case, mom and dad were just like, no. You walked into this one.
You've done this, sir.
You've done this. And, like, he tried to ask more questions. And again, at this point, I tried to give the answer. And he keeps, like, trying to be like, "Well, that's not possible." Again, sir, you are the connection between my eyes and my brain? If you know the answers, why don't you answer your own questions?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you asking me? Actually, we have not seen this doctor again.
No, this is probably why.
It's probably because of you. He's
probably
just like, "Oh, I don't want to mess with them."
Yeah, especially after because then he's like, "Okay, well, I want to reevaluate your diagnosis, and you're redoing the test for your diagnosis. Now, the test for our diagnosis has changed. Again, I took the baby form. So at 6 months old, I was put under, and they attached electrodes to my eyeballs to scan them. And to this day, I feel horrible for our mother. I think it is probably one of the worst things that our parents have been through.
Yeah,
was that test. My mom was the one who went back with me to hold me because, again, 6-month-old baby. And the nurse kept saying, like, "Mom, don't look. Like, don't look at her. It'll be okay. Just don't look." And of course, you know, what are you going to do when you're told not to look? You're going to look. And we have very pale complexions and our eyes are very dark from our father. And so when my mom looked at me, I looked like a baby doll. I was so small and I looked like a baby doll. So she just starts sobbing because she's holding her living, breathing child that she gave birth to not like 6 months ago. And I looked like a doll. So I went through that test, and I think that was the worst test I think our parents were put through. After that test, my mom said to our father, "I am never doing that again. Next time you are holding her, because I am not doing that again." She was not happy about that one. But so, like, you know, I only went through that test. Again, it had changed since then. No longer do they do that to babies. which, yay, for the parental units of children who may have our diagnosis. But, so, I've never been through the other form of this test.
And the thing is, I don't think I have either.
You only went through part of it.
Yeah.
Before your diagnosis was being like, yeah, this.
Yeah, they did. Oh, yeah, no, because that is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went through, maybe...
the color test.
One or two of, the easy tests, quote unquote. And then the eye doctor was like, yes, I know what you have. And this is what you have. I did not go through...
We didn't go through anything else.
The torture test.
But I don't know, that other... the part you did, doing it in the actual test form, that's also torture. So in our first episode, Arya mentions that, it was circular spheres of different color, of a shade of colors. And they're all very close. And you have to sit there and you have to put them in order from lightest to darkest. And so, that was part of this test. We each had to do it again. Except this time, you had to do it 4 times.
Yeah, you had to do it 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times in a row. And, they'd have to check you as soon as you did it. So, by the second time, we're exhausted.
And it was so funny because I was like, I know these are numbered on the back, guys.
Yeah, me and Ari are both like, we know this.
I was like, I know these are numbered. And, you are tempting me so much to just flip them over.
Yeah, I'm like, by the second time, I'm like, I already know these are numbered. I'm done. But it was very funny because the person who did that part of the test did the same for mine and Arya's. And Arya went first and everything. And then I went second. So while I'm in that part of the test doing it, me and Arya, without a fail, each and every time, both of us got 1 to 4 correct.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we never got anything correct. But 1, 2, 3, and 4,
correct.
Always got them correct.
Go us.
Go us. And she thought that was hilarious because it was both of us.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 times
mm-hmm.
that we would get those correct. So she was like, that's just amazing. And I'm like, it has to be the 8-year twin telepathy thing going on.
It has to be. So,
but that's the first part.
The second part,
that was horrible. If you want mental torture, it's this test.
If anybody has ever seen the image from A Clockwork Orange, the movie, where the guy is sitting in a chair and staring at a screen and his eyes are being held open. That's kind of what this test feels like.
Oh, yeah. No, that is what this test is, just worse.
Essentially, and again, if you've been able to get through to this point,
this may be what breaks you.
This may be the thing that you need to go from because this is a lot. Essentially, what happens is you are placed in a dark room. You are sat in a chair,
mm-hmm.
and you are made to face a screen. For all intents and purposes, you are kind of strapped to that chair. You aren't fully, but you kind of are in a very minimal way.
Let's put it this way. You kind of are in the fact that they electrode your head to the high heavens.
Yeah, there are so many electrodes that are placed on your head.
Can I say the next part?
Yeah.
Okay. Squeamish, leave now. I'm giving you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They will take a string and they will run it from one ear to the other and it will go into your eye. So they pull down your bottom lid and put the string in your eye.
Yeah.
And it goes across your nose, into the other eye, and then around the other ear.
Yes.
And it stays there.
The whole time.
The whole time. And you are forced to stare at a screen that has a checkerboard pattern. And then it will switch. So what was white becomes black, and what's black becomes white. And they will do that at differing speeds for about an hour and a half.
But the thing is, about halfway through of
after that hour and a half,
staring at it, they dilate you.
And then they put a blanket over you.
They put a blanket over you.
For 15 minutes.
And you sit there in the dark until they come, they take the blanket off, and you are forced to stare at the screen again. And I know this it sounds horrible.
It is.
It is horrible. And it is not a fun test by any stretch of the imagination. It's a lot. And actually, I haven't realized how much of an a lot it is until we're sitting here talking about it.
Oh, after it, like we were dead.
After that test, because that's the final part of the test, I went out and I think I had sunglasses on and I wanted to cry.
We got in the car and we both did once I was done.
It hurt.
It physically hurts because, again, the screen is brightly lit where it's white.
Mm-hmm.
And they just flicker it and it goes from different speeds. So it's just this strobe.
Yeah.
And it is the worst thing ever. Oh, it felt great when they took out the string.
Oh, it was so lovely to have that. The string hurts so bad.
When it's first in there, it is the worst feeling ever. And then after a while, you forget about it.
I never forgot about it.
See, I forgot.
I got used to it.
I
in the
forgot.
sense that I'm like, okay, it's uncomfortable, but like I'm still here. Like it's fine.
I think for me, it got to the point of I was in so much pain from the flash that I forgot because of that pain.
Yeah. Whereas me, I was just uncomfortable all around.
I was in so much pain from the flash, before they dilated me, that I forgot about the string. And then they dilated me, and 15 minutes after being closed off in a blanket, and they took that off, I was in so much more pain.
Yeah.
That the string was just gone.
Yeah. It didn't matter to you.
It didn't matter. But when they finally took it out and took off all those electrodes, you feel so just what mental form of torture.
Yeah, what have I just been through?
Honestly, if this wasn't used as an old-time war tactic, really should be.
It really should.
Because it is horrible.
It's not good.
It is not fun in any way, shape, or form. In my head, this is my form of the bucket of water with the slow drip.
Mm-hmm.
This test is that. Absolutely hate this test. Which is why if another doctor ever questions my diagnosis again, because guess what? Our diagnosis came back the same as it was when we entered that doctor.
Yeah, it was just sir, you think you know everything, do you?
Guess what? You're wrong.
You don't know.
And so at this point, Ari and I now have a pack of, if any doctor questions our diagnosis, we're gonna fight.
Yeah, we're just gonna be no, we're not doing that.
Will be had, because I will never take this test again in my life.
I'm not doing it again. No. You can get the results from that one. It's not gonna change.
It is not gonna change. Sorry. No. I refuse.
Mm-mm.
This is where my line is drawn. I will go through a bunch of other tests.
Yeah.
Not this one.
Yeah. So that happened. The thing is, too, is we've had so many different imaging tests done that it's so difficult.
I can't even tell you what imaging we've had done.
We've had so many.
At this point, it was literally the doctor's just
we're going to do this.
Pictures. And I said, okay.
We don't know any context. We're just getting pictures done. Okay.
The other test that is the worst is the field test.
The field test kind of sucks.
That one kind of sucks.
Actually, it was really funny because to get disability stuff, I had to go see a different doctor because my doctor's expertise was not good enough.
Oh, let's also preface that the doctor we see is renowned and leading in the field.
Yep. And so we go.
Also, yeah, to prove anything to the government, we have to go to a different doctor.
Yeah.
Forget the guy leading in the field.
Yeah, we have to go to their appointed rinky-dink doctor, but okay, sure. So I go in and he starts asking me questions and I answer the questions and
asks diagnosis, tells diagnosis. Oh, that's rare.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So then one of the things I have to do is a field test, which again, I've done at least a dozen field tests in my life, if not more. I've done them so many times. And the guy does the thing, starts the thing up. I'm doing the test. He comes in at like the halfway point and he's just like, you have trouble with differentiating colors, don't you? That's part of my diagnosis, my guy. Sure, it sure do.
Who's your primary doctor? Gives our primary doctor's name. Oh, he's really good.
Oh no, that was so funny because he's like, do you see an eye doctor or something like that? And I was like, yes, I see this doctor yearly. He is my, primary doctor on this. Oh wow. Yeah. Oh wow. Like,
He's really good. He's leading in the field. No, duh.
no. Yeah, I don't.
And let's put it this way. When we say he's renowned, it's not just in like the medical field renowned. Like, he's worked with the government renowned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I, again, don't know why his word means nothing.
Yeah, I know, right?
His word means nothing.
His word means absolutely nothing.
So, yeah. And just for for them to be like, oh yeah, no, you really can't see. No, you think?
You think?
You think? Which again, I know they have to like do that because like people are trying to like fake it and stuff. Like I get it, but at the same time, like
Just makes more work for the people who it actually
are disabled. Like it's very annoying. Don't try to fake a disability. Like don't do it.
Ain't worth it.
It's not. Trust me, it's not. Don't do it. But anyway, so yeah, field tests, they're not fun. Like they're for me, they're just more of a nuisance than anything else.
I'm just not a fan of them at all.
Yeah, you have a harder time with them than I do. For me, it's just a nuisance. I'm trying to think, what other testing have we done?
We've gone through the gauntlet. It really is.
We have, and like
there should be like the eye doctor Olympics.
We would win.
We would win.
We would win.
Honestly, minus like our diagnosis test, there isn't anything we wouldn't do
that we haven't done,
or that we haven't done.
I'll be surprised if there's something that they're like, oh, you haven't done this one before. Haven't I? Because, like, I've done a lot.
Really? Are you sure?
Are you sure? Because, like, I've done a lot of different things.
Because I'm trying to think, because, like, I can't, like, there's so many different imaging we have had done.
Yeah, and to try to name it all, like, I know there was one where I had to have, like, a dye injected into my arm, and then they had to, like, take pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that happened. I know that
I have you beat on the electrobes.
You've had more of those.
Mm-hmm. Only because that was the only way to tell if a 6-month-old had it at the time.
Yeah. And they wanted to know early for you. Well, because of me, they were like, we'll know early for you.
Well, okay. For me, whenever I entered the picture, the doctors were like, oh, there's a chance she might not have it. Or that she could have it to some degree. Like, they were very, like, wishy-washy.
Mm-hmm.
And so our parents did, like, a bunch of research on the very still new internet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, no, she's going to have it to some degree. So, like, by the time I made my appearance, this appointment was put in the books.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 months later, yay.
You were diagnosed.
I was diagnosed. So there's a lot of baby pictures of me in very chunky bug-eyed glasses.
Compared to me, where I was getting ready to start kindergarten.
There's the only way to tell which one of us is which in a baby picture. And is if it's me, I either have the chunky glasses or Arya is in my face.
Mm-hmm.
If it is just a baby picture without a baby in glasses, it is Arya.
Uh-huh. Yep. Because they didn't give me glasses.
You didn't have glasses.
Well, I had glasses. I think I was like maybe like a year or two old when they started giving me glasses. Oh, that was the other thing. Before I was diagnosed, I was seeing a regular like pediatrician eye doctor. And my mom was trying to be like, hey, I think something's wrong because like this, and this. That pediatrician eye doctor, for whatever reason, wrote my mom a really nasty letter just being like, you're wrong. Your child is lazy. there's nothing wrong with your child. And that's when we went and got a second opinion.
Well, that is when Dad reached out to an eye doctor friend.
Well, and he was like...
an eye researcher who was like, again, pretty high up in the field. And the doctor was like, oh, well, take her here. And they then took Aria to this place.
And I was diagnosed.
And she was diagnosed.
So, like, I don't know what it is about doctors and just not listening. But yeah, so that was fun. And I think that's about all of the eye doctor stuff that I can think of. I mean, again, we try to be the easiest patients we can be. We are pretty knowledgeable in comparison to like other people, that it's just like,
I mean, you try to be a stellar patient.
You don't care.
I don't. I will try to make our general doctor, I'll try to make his life a bit easier.
But if it's anybody else.
But if it's anybody else and like they rub me the wrong way,
you're just like, no.
We're done. We're done here.
No, we're done. We're done. I'll ruin your whole career.
I think I made that man cry.
I wonder if you did. I actually have to ask. We'll have to ask Mom and Dad about
because I was
appointment.
not having it.
We'll have to ask Mom and Dad about that appointment because I don't remember, and I'm just realizing
I don't think
now
they remember
that I don't remember.
I don't think they remember because it was like after that when we went back after like the tests, it was like his nurse that came in. It was like, yeah, it's correct. And that was like the person who like took all of our information before we met him. So like did the DNA and everything. And she's like, so your parents aren't related. No, duh. Thanks.
Huh. Cool.
And yeah, your condition came back as this. Okay, thanks.
Cool.
We knew that. And that was it.
Yeah. He didn't want to see us again.
He did not. And I think I'm the reason.
Probably.
I don't care.
No,
like, you were rude to begin with.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, he came in so much more aggressive than he needed to be.
That's my thing. Do not come into an eye doctor's appointment with me with an attitude.
Yeah, no.
Because I already don't want to be there anyway.
Yeah, trust me. If we didn't have to be here, we wouldn't be here.
Try again. The answer is no.
Well, that being said, we want to thank you for coming along as we talked about our eye doctor adventures. Of course, if you like this episode, if you like what you've been listening to, please consider following the podcast, leaving a comment, sharing the episode with your friends. It really would help us to grow the show, and we would appreciate the support those actions would give. And hey, if you just want to leave a review, that would be totally okay too. And then, what are we going to be talking about next time?
Whatever I want. No, hold on.
I was like, really?
Gadgets.
Oh, okay, fun. We get to talk about gadgets. I've been waiting for this one. So, that being said, hey, don't forget that it is a blind life. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.